Facebook. All right, so like I said, tonight we're going to be talking about digestive health, and that revolves around anything, again, like acid reflux, indigestion, constipation, if you're feeling any cramping when you're eating food or after eating food, anything like that has to do with any of your digestive health. My name's Emily. I'm a practitioner here at Thrive, and I really love helping people naturally and holistically, and I've struggled with a little bit of bloating and whatnot throughout my health journey, so I understand when it comes to digestive health, the irritations that can come with it and the frustration and everything. So I'm here with you guys, and if you have any questions for me afterwards, feel free to ask them. We'll have time for that. Does anybody have any questions right now that they know they want answered during the talk at all? If not, that's okay. I'm covering a lot of stuff, so hopefully I'll answer them for you. Okay, awesome. So again, like I said, my name's Emily, and I'll be giving this lecture to you guys tonight, okay? And first I'm going to go over this triangle here. So this is the triangle we like to use when it comes to seminars because it's very easily related to. So right at the top here, we have our symptoms, which again are the symptoms that are dealing with digestion. In this bottom corner, we have organ dysfunction, and then in this corner, we have nutritional deficiencies. So we like to use the triangle because if one corner moves, then the other corners move as well. So if you are experiencing some sort of nutritional deficiency, then what happens is an organ dysfunction. So when an organ is dysfunctioning, then we experience a symptom. So the thing that we do here at Thrive is we actually get to the root cause of what's going on with your health. We don't just kind of put a Band-Aid on it. We figure out, okay, what organ is dysfunctioning and what is happening with that organ that is giving you your symptom. So for example, you could have really bad stomach problems, so there's the organ dysfunction, and it could be because you have some issues digesting eggs, and you're eating eggs because eggs are great, and how would you know that they're bad for you? So then we would be able to actually find that discrepancy through our testing, and then be able to alleviate your symptoms that you're experiencing with your digestion. So that can go for all sorts of foods. It also can go for different immune challenges, different chemical toxicities, metal toxicities, and even scars can interfere with our organs and our nervous system as well. So all of those are related, and if one goes up, the other moves as well. So that kind of goes, when your symptoms go down, your organ dysfunction is restoring, so it's becoming more functional, and you're having less and less nutritional deficiencies, okay? So I'm going to have Kirsten come up here, and she's going to assist me, and I'm going to kind of demo what we do here for those of you that don't know. So we do what's called nutrition response testing, and we use a form of non-invasive muscle testing to figure out what the body needs, specifically for each individual. So no person's the same, so we treat it that way, and we let the body do the talking for us and listen to what it has to say. So I'm gonna have Kirsten put this arm up for me. So since she's not under any stress standing up here, I'm gonna go ahead and push on her arm, and she should be able to hold it up. Not pushing very hard, it's just a nice light push. So if I push on her stomach, and her stomach is something that's under stress, so I'm gonna go right here and push on her stomach, it would go weak if it's something that needs attention or has a lack of energy, we call it. Then what I can do is, with Design Clinical Nutrition, I can take one of these containers, let's say one of them is digestive health and the other one is a digestive health as well. And I'm going to pick specifically which one will help her. So go ahead and hold this in your hand for me. So if this is the one that's going to help her and I touch her stomach, her arm will stay nice and strong. But if I switch it out and then I put this one in to see if this one would help her too, and it doesn't, then her arm would go weak, letting me know that this is a good supplement, but it's not great for her body. It's not going to do the trick for her. So the way we do this is through our body's electricity. So my energy is kind of going with her energy, electricity, all that same stuff. So we have like a little demo here to show you guys how that works exactly. So here I have just like this little tube with two kind of foil pieces at the end. So when I hold one end and then I hold the other end, my body's completing the circuit, it lights up. So my electricity is lighting up the tube. So I'm gonna have you put this hand out flat like that, yep, and then hold the end right there, perfect. Okay, so when we're holding the end and I take my finger and put it in her palm, then we can light up the tube because my electricity is syncing kind of with hers. So we're able to light it up together just like when I muscle test and push on the different areas of her body, I'm able to tell what's weak and what's strong, and then what is stressing out those specific areas. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so I'm gonna erase this quick so we can make a nice list here. I did that beforehand because if I do it like sideways, it doesn't look so good. All right, so first we're gonna start off with just what can affect our digestion badly, so the things that negatively affect it, and like I said before, everybody's different, but there are some general things that we just know aren't great for humans in general. So I'll go over those things, and then we'll go over kind of specifically maybe what you might be sensitive to that you may or may not know about. Okay, so first, the biggest one that most of us are sensitive to and that we kind of preach around here to avoid a lot is sugar. So when I say sugar, I mostly mean refined or added sugar. So we'll clarify, like fruit sugar is obviously sugar, but it's okay when it's eaten in its whole form. So I wouldn't recommend doing too much juicing because you're actually taking away all the fiber and all the benefit from the fruit when you do that. So I would keep it in its whole form, and then also just moderation with it. I wouldn't eat it like 6 times a day or anything, but you're not going to be hurt if you eat it a couple times, and especially fruit that's in season is really important too. So like right now, if you want to be eating berries and melons and stuff because they're in season, if you get it from a local farmer or if you can, that's great too. So sugar is really not good for the digestive system. So sugar actually depletes nutrients as it comes into the body. So we kind of have a little demo here that we'll do another time, but even when we have someone holding their supplement program and their organs or areas are nice and strong, as soon as we put sugar in their hand, even with their supplements, their arm will go weak because the body is automatically depleted of good nutrients when you enter any type of refined sugar. So that's things like just white sugar, even cane sugar, anything like sucralose especially, that's a chemically made sugar, so that's kind of almost a little extra worse because it's sugar and it's chemically made. Anything with ose at the end is going to be sugar related, and I would definitely avoid those. Look at your labels because it's really important. A lot of sugar is kind of slipped into things where it'll be like 2% or less of, and then they throw some sugar in that. So watch out for those. Those are important to avoid. But yeah, sugar definitely messes with your gut and can irritate it, especially if you're already suffering from something chronic like IBS or Crohn's or anything like that. You want to avoid sugar like the plague. Then the next thing we have is, in this, this is one that it varies person to person, but milk products can be bothersome to people's guts. So first I'll say milk in general, for people who are drinking it like from the store, from the gallon, I would just not recommend that. So it's already pasteurized when it gets to the store, and what happens during pasteurization is it's heated so rapidly that, number one, it kills all the good bugs that are in dairy that we want to get from dairy. And then second, honestly, all that's left over when they do that rapid heating is kind of a lot of pus. So you're not drinking too much milk, just a lot of cow pus, which is not yummy. So my recommendation would be things like almond milks, coconut milks, things like that. But again, the world's kind of catching on to that trend, so we have to watch out for things like added sugars or preservatives in those. If you can make any of your own milks, that's ideal. So like any homemade nut milks, or you can make coconut milk too. That's a great way to do that. So dairy is kind of a hit or miss. So if you tolerate dairy, and we can test you here for that, we can let you know if you are able to tolerate dairy or not. You would do things like raw cheeses. If you have access to a farmer that could give you raw milk, that would be another thing you can do. Things like goat cheese are usually more so tolerated in most people versus cow cheese. You could do sheep cheese, sheep milk, sheep yogurt. If you're gonna do things like yogurt, again, it's gonna be pasteurized, so that's one downfall. but it's going to have some good bugs in it still because it's not as fully pasteurized as, just getting milk out of the jar. And then you want to watch out for yogurt with sugar though too. So you want to watch out for any added sugar. I would just recommend getting plain yogurt, and you can add your own vanilla or maple syrup and some fruit to it if you wanted to make it a little bit more flavorful. But when it comes to milk products, I would definitely be wary of the source and what kind of milk you're giving, so raw or the pasteurized milk. All right. Then another one that is bothersome is just alcohol in general. So alcohol, it's a fun time of year with summer and everything, so I get it. But alcohol is detrimental to the gut because it can go in and just disturb a lot of things. Makes the body very acidic, in a bad way. So we want to make sure that we're kind of watching ourselves when we do that too. Especially if you suffer from something like IBS, you're going to go in and make things even more inflamed from the alcohol. All right. Next we have some fried foods. So fried foods, especially when we eat out, are going to probably more than likely be cooked in different commercial fats, which are things that are made like with peanut oil, vegetable oils, canola oils. So a lot of those are highly processed and highly refined, and we want to make sure we're avoiding those because, number one, they're probably not safe because they're probably partly chemically made and probably not made from actual food. And if they are made from food, then they're going to be chemically grown food. So things like GMOs, that's another one I'll put on here. So GMOs in the canola oil especially. So a lot of corn that's grown is grown with GMOs or from GMOs. So that means genetically modified organism. And what's going on is they basically kind of have a seed and they organize it all together and they inject a chemically made bacteria, you could call it. So anything that's derived from that GMO seed is disturbing to the gut and its health because it has a synthetic bacteria in it. So what's happening is we have good bacteria in our gut, in our stomach, and when we eat something that has GMOs, then we're eating something that's synthetic and it's disturbing our natural gut flora and our gut health. So that's the same thing when it comes to things like antibiotics or birth controls or something like that. We're disturbing the natural gut health that we have and the good bacteria that is in our gut. So antibiotics are another huge one. So antibiotics are actually, we think of them used, with humans and whatnot, but the majority of antibiotics that are made in the U.S. are used for animals. So that goes on things like our meats, and all of that. So we have the cows and the chickens and the turkeys and all of that that are injected with the antibiotics to stay healthy because they're in such close quarters that they're trying to keep these animals alive and long enough to get them so that they can put them out on the market in these mass production farms, that they have to inject them with antibiotics so that they don't get ill and then they lose that money. So that's a huge problem. We eat them instead of taking them for some type of infection that your doctor may recommend. But it's not good for our gut. Again, it goes in and they kill all the bugs, including the good ones. So antibiotics are huge in killing everything. So they're like the only drug that's proven to work, but it kills the good and the bad. So not a good thing. And then along with that, we'll talk about, no, that's okay. We'll talk about MSG too. So MSG, we kind of, there's some stimulus out there around MSG and whatnot. So MSG is just a chemical additive that's put in our food for preservation, for flavor. Actually, MSG will leave you craving more food even after you're full. So it makes you feel hungry even when you've eaten something that is supposed to be good. So it's a chemically made thing that they put in food to keep you craving it. I heard lots of things about McDonald's using it. So, people are addicted to fast food. And you wonder why. There's actually stuff in it that makes you addicted to it. So that's what's happening there. And then we'll go a little bit with things like we breathe in too. So the things that we can breathe in can affect our gut as well. So things like bleach are really, really hard on our whole body because, again, it's kind of like an antibiotic. Bleach kills everything, including the good bugs, except for sometimes the strongest bad bugs will live, and that's when you get some of the worst kinds of infections because you killed off all the fighter bugs for you, but the strong ones survived it, and they're going to kind of wreak havoc on your body. Some things you could do instead are like, vinegar, essential oils and stuff, but that's a different lecture. We won't get into that. Okay. And then a big one I actually want to talk about too is a lot of people experience heartburn, and so there's some misconceptions with heartburn. So heartburn, everyone wants to take some sort of pill or Tums or something like that to help their heartburn, and I understand that it hurts and it sucks, and that the Tums may actually alleviate your symptoms, but what it's doing, again, is just putting a Band-Aid on it, and it's actually going to make it worse throughout your life. So all that's doing is making your stomach more what we call basic, when in fact your stomach actually, believe it or not, needs to be more acidic. So what's happening is there's a valve between your stomach and your small intestine. So your food first goes into your stomach to get digested and broken down, and your stomach has to be at a very specific pH level, which is pretty acidic, and then once it hits that level, that valve will open and the food can move on to the small intestine. Well, if your stomach isn't acidic enough and the food keeps coming in and in and in, and that valve doesn't open because it's like, it's not acidic enough, I can't break this food down yet, then what happens is kind of like if you have a glass of water with ice in it, you keep putting the ice in, which would be the food, and the water is your stomach acid. And if your food tank keeps filling up and the acid isn't where it should be, then the acid comes up because it has nowhere else to go. So that's what happens when you have acid reflux. Your stomach is actually not producing enough acidic fluid. So it's kind of backwards to take an antacid and put a Band-Aid on it and actually cause the problem to continue to become worse. And I know that's what we've learned like our whole life. So it's kind of astonishing that we haven't had any better success with that. But that's the truth behind it. So that's another thing. And fun fact about acid reflux too is smokers have about a 50% chance more of getting acid reflux because of all the chemicals and stuff that they're inhaling into their body. All right. And then, so things that you're feeling after you eat, so any sort of indigestion, constipation, bloating, if you get phlegmy, if you're feeling any sort of adverse reaction, that's your body telling you that there's something wrong with the food you just ate or it is having trouble digesting it. So we can be sensitive to bad foods, and we can be sensitive to good foods. So it's up to you to kind of listen to your body and understand what it's telling you so that you can kind of get in tune with it. And things that, if you're sensitive to good foods, that's something that we can work with you around here, because obviously we want you to be eating all the fruits and vegetables and the good proteins. But if you're like, if we test you and you like poultry shows up and you can't have chicken right now, it's not because it's a bad thing for your body, but it's because your body needs a break from it, and that's why you may be experiencing some sort of adverse digestive reaction from that food. So that's something we can figure out too. Okay, so now that we covered the bad, I'll go ahead and talk about the good. So those are all the things we want to avoid for the most part. Okay, and then here are some things we can add into our diet to help with our digestive health. Okay, so some different things that you can add in. So the first big one, especially for digestion, is going to be things like fermented foods. So fermented foods are things like sauerkraut, kimchi, kombucha, apple cider vinegar, things like that are going to have good pickles, good, healthy bacteria in them. So the trick with that is you want to make sure that you're getting them cold. So if you're getting sauerkraut out of the middle aisle, that means it's been heated. That means the good bacteria has probably died off. So we want to make sure we get them from the refrigerator section. And most health food stores have a refrigerated section with sauerkraut, pickles, kimchi, that area. So we want to make sure we can do that. We also want to look at the ingredients list to make sure there's no sugar added, because that's another big thing that they do for those foods too, is add sugar. And then also different types of preservatives. So just as least ingredients as possible is ideal. Then next, with different things, especially like kombucha. So kombucha is good, but it does have a lot of sugar in it because there is added fruit juice or sometimes even added sugar. So again, you have to watch out for that. So for kombucha, I'll write down the name. It's called GT's. I'm sure some of you have heard of it before. They're the one brand I found that has no added sugar, so there's literally not just sugar in it, but they use fruit juice to help with the fermentation and the taste of everything. So watch out just for the additional sugar, and you could drink there is 2 servings in a bottle, so you could drink a half a bottle one day and the rest of it the next day or something like that. But yeah, that's something that's great for the gut because it is fermented and has the good bacteria that we could call, they're like probiotic-like bacteria. Okay, then next we have veggies with good fiber. So for the most part, most people can have vegetables with good fiber. Some of us may struggle at first if we're getting on the healthy bandwagon, is that at first, if you're just eating raw vegetables, it actually may back you up because it's too much of a bulk fiber to actually have your digestive system digest properly because it's not used to that yet. So if you're just starting off and trying to add more veggies to your diet, maybe just try cooking them first. I want to get them all soggy or anything, but cook them so that you're more easily able to digest them and actually get the nutrients from them. Because we're not trying to constipate you, we're trying to help you. So that would be a good way to do that. Another very key item to staying or having a healthy gut is staying hydrated. So water is needed for the process of elimination. Especially for smooth elimination. We don't want to be having uncomfortableness going to the bathroom or feeling like we're backed up. And if you're not staying hydrated, that's exactly what's going to happen. It's just all part of the mechanism that's happening within your body. And part of staying hydrated too is getting in enough salt. So I know there's a bad stigma around salt, some salts. So please stay away from table salt. Don't use Morton brand salt. When I say salt, get good salt, pink Himalayan salt, Celtic sea salt. Those are really great different salts that have a plethora of minerals in them that will help your body actually be able to absorb nutrients better and then also be able to help with digestion. So we need electrolytes, which electrolytes are in the salt. We need those to absorb water and to absorb nutrition. So it's really important to get salt in your diet, whether it's on your food or in your water. You can add salt into your water, and that's great too. You don't have to do a lot and make it taste horrible, but you can do a little bit, and it'll help be able to absorb nutrients better. Next, we have a good one that some people know about. So we have ginger and peppermint tea. So if you're experiencing some sort of indigestion at home and you're kind of looking for a quick little pick-me-up to help you be able to go to the bathroom or anything like that, feel less bloated, I would recommend ginger or peppermint tea. They're both great. Teas, I would especially focus on getting them organic. They're important to get organic because all the herbs and whatnot are highly sprayed with chemicals. A lot of stuff these days, so mostly get organic things if you can. But ginger is going to help aid in digestion, and then peppermint is going to help aid in digestion and also be able to soothe any maybe uncomfortableness that you're feeling too. A good one for the kombucha, they have a kombucha called Ginger Aid, and that's really good if you're ever having some sort of upset stomach. You know, your mom always used to give you ginger ale and saltine crackers. Don't do that when you have upset stomach. Sorry, Mom. So have some ginger kombucha and pretend it's ginger ale. It's busy. All right. So those are good soothers for your stomach. Then next we have bone broth. Bone broth is amazing for your gut because it has so many minerals. And my recommendation would be to make your own. It's very, very easy. Just get bones from somewhere that you know is a good source. So from a local farmer market that you would know that their animals were treated properly and not used too many chemicals on them and whatnot. But you can put it in a crock pot, let it cook, put some vegetables in there. It's really great. You can easily find a recipe online. And then a really great idea with the bone broth is that after, if you make some and you don't want to use it all at that moment, you can take it and put it in an ice cube tray and freeze it. And then you can just pop the ice cubes out whenever you want to heat it up, or you can pop an ice cube in a frying pan or something and cook some veggies in it. That's really helpful to be able to use that instead of like an oil or something, because it's going to have really good fat or gelatin in it from the bones and collagen as well. So you're going to get a lot of good nutrition from bone broth. And that all those minerals help be able to soothe the gut, and it's really good to eat before sleep because minerals are very calming and relaxing. So if you have trouble sleeping, sometimes that's a good thing to try right before bed too. So those are very relaxing. If you don't want to make your own bone broth, Costco has a really good option because there's no sugar or any other crap in it, and it actually has like a gelatin layer at the top. So that's what you want. If you ever make your own bone broth, you'll realize that when it sits in the fridge or the freezer, that the top layer becomes a thick piece of fat basically. That's what you want, it's real. So a lot of bone broths in the store today, kind of their fat is basically the fat's taken from the bone broth. We want that. It's really good fat and it's really good nutrients for your body. Okay. And then, since we're talking about fat, we have healthy fats. So, our cells have this thing called, it's fancy words, phospholipid bilayer, which literally means basically a fat layer around them. And this fat layer can only allow nutrients to come in when it's active. So what that means is it's able to kind of open up, let the nutrition in, close back up type of thing. It's a little gateway to our cells. So this bilayer, if it's not getting enough essential fatty acids through your diet, is not going to work properly. And then we're going to go kind of back to the triangle. You're going to start to have nutritional deficiencies, then you're going to have dysfunction, and then you're going to get symptoms. So healthy fats are really important to have in your diet because you want to make sure that those cells are nice and healthy and they're open to receiving the nutrition that you're giving them. So healthy fats are essential for absorbing good nutrients. And what I mean by healthy fats, sorry guys, my writing is getting so bad. Okay. That's not good. Sorry. So avocados is what that says. Avocados are awesome. I just had one right before this. Give me a little pick-me-up after a long day. So they're really great. They're good for energy. They're good in things like naturally accessing good folate, good fats, all of that. So avocados are a good option. You can put them in things. You can eat them by themselves. That's great. Any types of different oils that you're going to use. So for cooking or for things like salad dressing, so we want to have good sources again with oils. So mostly organic with the oils we want to stay towards. You could do things like avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, things like that, MCT oil. You can do all of those. So the only trick I have with those is olive oil. I wouldn't recommend heating it if you can avoid it because It can change a little bit when it's heated depending on the temperature, but it's just a safer bet to use that for different salad dressings and whatnot. You can mix that with some apple cider vinegar, which is another great fermented food, so that would be kind of a double whammy on your gut health in a good way. But yeah, oils are a great way to get healthy fats in. Then we have nuts and seeds. So if you struggle with something like IBS or colitis, then obviously please don't eat nuts and seeds. But if you don't struggle with anything like that, healthy nuts and seeds are great in smaller portions because they can get a little bit higher in the carbohydrate intake if you eat too many like at one time. But things like almonds, macadamia nuts, different seeds like hemp seeds and pumpkin seeds are really good. Pumpkin seeds have the highest amount of protein in them, so they're really helpful for putting in like a trail mix or something. You could do like some coconut flakes, good fat. You could do any type of nuts, and you could do like a little bit of maybe some higher quality, like if you want to put a little bit of chocolate chips in there to have some flavor, make sure it's a better brand. And then also you could do things like a little bit of dried fruit or something like that. That's a good snack. But nuts and seeds are good. All right. And then things to help digestion are eating mindfully. So you hear that a lot, but so what I'm talking about when I say that, good thing I'm not a teacher. All right, so what I'm saying when what I mean when I say that is like really like, be happy you have good food to eat, because your body needs to recognize, okay, I'm about to eat, this is something that's used to fuel me, really smell your food, enjoy the taste, try to sit and relax with no distractions. I know in our fast-paced world that's super, super hard today, but if you can, sit down and actually enjoy your meal, and then chew slowly. So digestion starts in the mouth, so we want to chew slowly and actually be able to absorb the flavor, absorb the nutrients, because nobody likes eating bland. So you want to actually eat healthy food that tastes well, because then you'll have less cravings later on in the day. And if you're actually sitting there and enjoying it, then you'll be able to process that better and your body will respond better. Okay. Another thing that can help is exercise. So exercise is great, a great modality of wellness. When we do things like movement, we're actually physically moving things in our body because of gravity. So, you're doing jumping jacks or jump roping, or you're doing some twists in a yoga class. That's really good for your digestion, and keeps things regular and keeps things going along. So exercise is a good benefit to good digestion. All right, then I'm just gonna have a couple fun facts about digestion and why it's important to have good digestion. So first, the only thing that goes in our bodies through our mouth is food, or if you take other medications and stuff. So it's important to put good food in our bodies, good hydration. So the thing that's touching the inside until it comes out is going to be food. So we want to make sure we focus on good sources of food and good sources of water too. Because about 80% of your immune system lives in your gut. So we want to focus on keeping that gut healthy. We want to focus on being able for it to function well so that you're able to stay well. And in return, you're going to feel a lot better. And then a fun fact that most people may not know is that hormonal imbalances in digestion are related. So hormones are secreted through our gut and our intestines. So different things like serotonin, which is our happy kind of pick-me-up type of hormone, about 80-90% of that is made and produced in the gut. And if it can't get its signal kind of up to the brain that it needs to be released, then we're gonna feel things like low bouts of depression or things like that. So that's a huge thing. And also our pancreas is a part of our digestive system, and our pancreas is in charge of digesting things like sugars. We know that. So the pancreas is also a hormonal organ. So those things are highly connected. If your pancreas is under stress because you're eating too much sugar, then your digestion's going to be interrupted. And also things like commercial fats and things like that can disrupt your gallbladder, which is a huge part of fat digestion. And if you're not digesting your fats properly, again, it leads back to them not being able to actually be absorbed into the cells, and you're lacking nutrition. All right, and then also a huge one, actually that personally I went through, is your skin is a huge reflection of your diet and what you eat and how healthy your gut is. Because the skin's second, so your body doesn't care about what you look like, sorry. It cares about what's going on in here. So when your gut's off, you may experience things like breakouts or different rashes, irritations, and that's a sign that your body's letting you know something's going wrong within it. So a big thing for me was coming in, getting my diet right, and then also one of our coffee products that contains mushroom, like, totally helped clear my skin up. So once my gut got back on track, it was so much easier to help clear my face up, because I was struggling with chemicals and metals actually like coming out of my face, because that was the easiest channel for them to exit out of, instead of going through the bowels or through the urine where they're supposed to go. All right, so I'll just go over a few things we have here that can help with digestive health, and then we'll go through questions, okay? So my favorite product for kind of like go-to digestion is called Natural Calm, and this is a magnesium product. This one happens to have calcium in it as well. We have them without calcium or with, and we have it in raspberry lemonade or plain. And the reason this is so important is, number one, most of us are all magnesium deficient, because magnesium is it's gotten through the fruits and vegetables that are grown in the ground, and our soil's pretty much kind of all rotten these days. So we don't really absorb any magnesium from the earth anymore, because it's all been torn up. So getting magnesium through supplementation is really important, and the magnesium is important for muscle relaxation and muscle contraction. So that's literally what your colon is, huge muscle that's trying to do a lot of work, and if you don't give it the proper nutrients like magnesium, which is crucial, then it's not going to be able to do its job properly. So this supplement is really great in the fact that it, number one, makes you calm, natural calm. So it's very relaxing. So I drink it every night before bed because it's very relaxing. It kind of simmers me down, helps me sleep better. And then also it's just good for moving the bowels. So if you ever have constipation, just take more Natural Calm and you'll know when enough's enough. So that's a good product. Then a good essential oil we have here in the office that can help ease any pain or bloating with digestion is called Digest, and it's a Young Living oil. And this can be put on topically, like on the stomach, or orally used as well. I will forewarn you, it does not smell that great, so maybe do it when you have to be not around people, because they won't like you. But it works like a charm. So you could get this, and you could like get a roller to even put on it and literally roll it on your stomach. I had to use this in an acute case because it was like Thanksgiving or something, you know, you're about to eat all this food, and all of a sudden, like, I was bending over in gut-wrenching pain, and we weren't open, I couldn't come get checked or anything, so I just put this baby on, and within a few minutes, I was totally okay. So this is a good one to have on hand. And then with the magnesium, you can get a topical form too. This is sometimes useful for digestion. I do like the oral one better for digestion, but this can go on as well. Right, you can apply it right on your stomach. And then a new favorite product of ours that we have been having good success with is called Restore. And what this does is it brings balance to your gut. So through all the, I forgot to mention a big one on the avoid. So please avoid wheat in America because it's highly processed, and especially they use glyphosate on a lot of our wheat here. So that's a big problem. We don't want to do that. That's a chemical, so glyphosate, Roundup, all in the same group. So things like it's used highly on a lot of kids' foods. So they market towards kids. Kids want all the yummy cereals and the snacks and stuff. But please don't feed your kids goldfish, Facebook, or Lucky Charms, or any of that stuff, because it's not good for them. It's actually destroying their poor little guts, and we want to set them up for success. So let's avoid that. But what Restore was made for, they are like realizing that we're having this epidemic of glyphosate used on so many things and that the people are suffering. So what Restore does is it goes in and it actually tightens up these things in your gut that we call junctions. So junctions need to be tightened in the wall of the stomach, because if they're not, they become loose and things like bigger than they should be spew out of your gut. So you heard things like leaky gut or things like that. It's because those junctions aren't tight enough and they're letting out bigger pieces of food basically that need to come out. So we need some nutrition to come out of our stomach, and our small intestine especially is put into our bloodstream, but we don't need actual pigments of food that we have leaky gut from that. So what this does, it comes in and it actually restores the gut back to its natural health, helps fix up those junctions, and it can help you eat and feel better. A patient success with this is I had a patient who he's doing really great on his program. He's been on maintenance for a while in the maintenance phase, and he was all of a sudden having very adverse reactions to all the foods he was eating, and he's very clean, healthy diet. So I'm like, okay, something's going on. So I test him, he tests good for this, and within a week he was able to eat all those foods again, and it was just his gut wasn't actually absorbing anything like it should, and he was having a reaction because everything was getting dumped into his body in the wrong way. So the body saw it as kind of the enemy, because that's not what it's supposed to do, and it attacked itself basically. So that's something that was a huge success, and that I really do like this product a lot. Okay, and then we do have our handy dandy squatty potty over here. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of them or used them. Squatty potties are awesome. So when you go to the bathroom, your legs have to be at the right angle to actually go to the bathroom the right way. So that's a tool that you can use to do that. If you want to, you can kind of gung-ho make your own one at home if you don't want to get one, but they do help a ton. And then, like I said, stuff like our coffee, depending on your tolerance to coffee. Coffee's good for digestion for some people, and it's bad for some others. We do have a specific coffee here called Organo that has Ganoderma mushroom in it. That's really good for digestion, immune health, things like libido, anti-aging, all of that. And we've had people that are very sensitive to coffee, and they're actually able to drink that coffee, so that's a plus. But that's kind of one of those ones like milk, you kind of have to listen to your body if you can have it and tolerate it or not. All right, I think that's all. Bye, Facebook. Thanks for watching.